Hello and welcome back to the Football Martin channel. My name is Martin Sanders. This is the final word. We're taking a look back at the weekend's game against Newcastle United. We're going to look at what happened in the Premier League and the key talking points from those fixtures, because there was one big upset down on the South Coast. It wasn't at St Mary's, but there was one down at the Vitality. We'll have a look at all the Premier League results from the weekend. We'll look at how the table stands. We'll look ahead to next week's fixtures, because it is hotting up in the Premier League, certainly for those teams well and truly in with a chance of staying in the division. Also coming up on today's show, Dragan Solak, he speaks. He has been speaking today at TalkSport with Jim White. I'm going to reflect upon what he had to say today. We're going to assess all the latest transfer rumours and news, because there is a bit circulating this weekend and into Monday today. Could Tyler Dibbling leave Southampton Football Club this week? Has he played his last game for Southampton? And did Kyle Walker-Peters put on the red and white stripes of Southampton for the last time this weekend? There's a lot of talk about him potentially leaving before the week's out. Right, let's reflect upon that game at the weekend. That game against Newcastle United down at St Mary's. Get involved in the comments box below. Give me your final thoughts on the weekend's game. You can catch my matchday vlog over on YouTube. 30 minutes of unbelievable content. Hopefully you will enjoy it as much as everyone else has done. I've had a good response to that, so leave a comment if you watch it. Give me your thoughts on it as well. Thoroughly enjoyed producing that, but it was a tough day as we expected. I don't think it was quite as bad as it possibly could have been. I think it could have potentially been worse. I think we all expected a heavier defeat than what we ended up with. But it was a very good Newcastle side, let's be quite honest. They're one of the best sides in the division. The midfield three were superb. I spoke a lot in my matchday vlog about how easy they play through us, or teams play through Southampton. And they do. Aribo, Mateus Fernandes and Leslie Ogachukwu, it's not my favourite three in that midfield. I've said it a few times. I don't feel that comfortable with it. I still think we need another ball-winning midfielder in there. And if he can get Flynn Downs fit, why not play Flynn Downs in the six, in the pivot, and just let him sit in front of the back three, back four, whatever it is. I still don't like the back five. I'll come on to that. And let him play there. Don't make him go box to box. Just let him be really disciplined and make it harder for teams to play against. Because the one thing that when you watch us concede goals, and you look at two of those from Newcastle the weekend, certainly the second one, it was just ball played through midfield, and it needed to be stopped at source, really. The player drops infield, and all of a sudden opens up the play, and we're in trouble. And the third one was just a classic example of not being ready, not being set, and the players having a bit of thought about them, the two midfielders, and getting back in and reading the game. Harwood Bellis is trying to play a high line. The defenders are playing a high line. They get caught trying to play an offside trap, and then the midfielders are so high up the field. It was that third goal was terrible to give away. I thought it was. I thought it was really poor. Look, there was a lot of debate around the penalty. I've watched it back a few times. You can see what it was given. I know a lot of people say, VAR's against us. Look, if it was around the other way, we would have felt, we would have been disappointed if we didn't get it. Do you know what I mean? So we have to look. People say it's corrupt, VAR. I'm not convinced it's corrupt. I just think the wrong people are behind it. It's like big decisions went against Arsenal this weekend, and they were sending off in their game. And for me, that probably wasn't a sending off, but he still got a sent off, and that was for Arsenal. So look, right across the Premier League, there's decisions not just for smaller teams, but for bigger teams. We got a decision a week ago at the City ground. So look, it swings and roundabouts. VAR's not great. It's just been used by the wrong people. It needs better people involved. Maybe it needs more players involved. I don't know. But it is Howard Webb. He has his hands full with it. I really think it needs sorting out. It does need addressing. And look, it's not great. But let's have a look at some of the statistics. If you're tuning in on YouTube, you can see it all on your screen. If you're listening on audio format, on podcast format, I'll go through it with you as well. Like the expected goals for Southampton, just 0.76, still a massive issue. Don't ever look like scoring anywhere near enough goals. Newcastle's was 2.87. Ball possession, Southampton just about edged it, 52 compared to the 48 of Newcastle. Goal attempts, Southampton just a 12, 17 for Newcastle. Shots on goal by Saints, they had 5 compared to 9 from Newcastle United. Then you look at some of the other key statistics. Goalkeeper saves, Alex McCarthy stepped in the goal, thought he'd done okay to be fair. 6 saves he made compared to just the 4 from Dubravka. And then the fouls, Southampton committed 10, Newcastle just a 5. We had 1 big chance, but they had 6 big chances in the game, and they were clinical. When you've got Alexander Isak playing up front, he is absolutely deadly. He's the best striker I've seen in the flesh, without a shadow of doubt. I thought he was absolutely brilliant for them. I thought the 3 midfielders, Bruno Guimaraes, how to pronounce it, I thought he was brilliant in midfield, and Tonali, I think he's a really, really good player. I enjoy watching him play, Tonali. I think he's a magnificent player, and you can see why they're set 5th in the division. They got 41 points on the board, and going into that game at the weekend, though they've been beaten by Bournemouth, they've been outstanding up until that stage. So Eddie Howe is doing a good job. I don't think there's loads more to comment on about the game really. I think I've given my thoughts on it in my match vlog, given a bit here. Look, it wasn't the greatest performance from Saints. It was better. That we're improving under Ivan Juric, but whether we're gonna get a win under him, I don't know. I think it'd be interesting to see. Get involved in the comments box below. Give me your thoughts. Do we get a win under Ivan Juric? Does he pick up a point? This weekend's game coming up is massive. We'll look at the weekend's games coming up very, very shortly, but we'll have a look at some of the Premier League results from the weekend, because there was some interesting results. I did watch quite a bit of Premier League action this weekend as well. I didn't see the Man City Chelsea game. I missed that one. Big win for Man City. Chelsea have wobbled again. I thought Chelsea were going to go on hell of a run, but 3-1 win for Man City. Arsenal edged Wolves just about, a 1-0 win, and two players sent off there, and Calafiori with the goal. It was a good goal. I really like him as a fullback. What a great fullback they've got there. A very, very good result for Arsenal. Wolves are slowly improving. I think they're well in with a shout and staying up. I really, really do. Let's see what they can do. But it's a result for Wolves that give them a little bit of belief, because they played well, created a lot of chances from what I saw as well. Obviously, we know Southampton's result. We lost 3-1 to Newcastle. Liverpool, a 4-1 win over Ipswich Town. And Saints play Ipswich Town next weekend. They didn't defend well at all. Did Ipswich. They didn't defend well. It almost looked like us defending, to be honest. I thought they were really poor. It's a tough one for them. Jacob Greaves got the goal for Ipswich Town late on in that one. He's a good player, Jacob Greaves. But yeah, Liverpool are going to win the league, aren't they? I don't think there's any doubt about that. They will win it. They will win it. Everton with a shock win down at the Amex. They beat Brighton 1-0. It gives them a real hope. They've had a new manager boost, haven't they, under David Moyes? And I think that they will pull themselves out of it. I really do. And it was a big result, wasn't it, for Bournemouth down at the Vitality, beating Nottingham Forest. Danga Vatara with a hat-trick. Justin Cliver, he scores again. I've been impressed every time I've watched him play. And Simeone got the final one in 90+1. But it was a brilliant performance from them when they got a lot of injuries at the moment. Seemed to be with a manager that really, really is. He's had a pre-season with them. He's got them absolutely flying. And there's a lot to be admired about the way they play under this manager. But look, football goes in circles. We spoke about it a lot. I still think their manager is going to be hot property. And if Spurs sack their manager, which they could potentially do, I think he will be the top of their list. I really, really do. And I think they'll be concerned about that, Bournemouth fans, because Spurs did lose to Leicester City on Sunday. 2-1 victory for Leicester. They're giving themselves a real chance in the fight for survival. It was a big, big win. Jamie Vardy hitting the net again, and his celebration as well. Well, He proper give it large to the Spurs fans like you expect. He's won a Premier League title, something they haven't done, and he was quick to show that one off. Crystal Palace Brentford, I watched a bit of that yesterday. Brentford with an away win yesterday, started to win away from home since that win down at St Mary's against us. Fulham Man United I watched. I thought that was an absolutely boring game, by the way. Absolutely dreadful. 1-0 victory for Man United, but they look a poor side at this moment in time. A lot of work to be done there with the wages they're shelling out on players. It's quite criminal, really. And then you look at Aston Villa, West Ham. That ended up finishing 1-1. I thought West Ham dug in at the end and they could have nicked it. But fair play to them, struggling for a striker. Danny Ings looks like he's lost his legs, by the way. So if anyone wants to talk about signing Danny Ings, looks like a player that's just lost his legs to me. Surprised. He just doesn't look the player that he once looked, does he? Too many injuries potentially. But doesn't look the same player. We'll have a look at how the Premier League table stands after the weekend's game, and then we're going to have a look into what Dragan Solak had to say today. Southampton rock bottom, 6 points from 23 Premier League games. They need to find a win. If they're going to beat Derby's record, we need to start finding a couple of wins. Just show a bit of pride somewhere. Opportunity to do that against Ipswich Town. 16 points, 10 more points than Southampton. They take on us at Portman Road at the weekend, which they will see it as a must-win game for them if they want to survive this season in the Premier League. Wolverhampton Wanderers, 16 points, same amount of points as Ipswich Town from 23 games. They have Aston Villa at the weekend. Leicester City, they are 17th in the Premier League now. Big win for them, pulls them out the bottom three. They've got Everton at the weekend, who sit a place above them, but with 23 points on the board. That will be a very, very interesting game, that one. Huge game for Leicester, a huge game for Everton as well. And then Tottenham, they sit in 15th. I don't think there's any danger of Tottenham Hotspur going down. I really don't. I think they'll be fine. I believe it's between Everton, Leicester, Wolves and Ipswich to see who stays in this Premier League. But that's how the bottom end looks. And then the top of the pile, obviously Liverpool, absolutely fine. 53 points from 22 games, quite incredible. Arsenal in at second now. They've got 47 points. And then Nottingham Forest sitting third. They had such a good run of form. Obviously lost at the weekend, but they'll be looking to bounce back this weekend. They have Brighton and Hove Albion. Not an easy game for them. Brighton mid-table in ninth. Right, back to all things Southampton. Dragan Solak, like I said, he was speaking with Jim White from TalkSport today. And it's an interesting interview. I've got some of the snippets from it and I'll give you some reaction to it. He said, I would never say that we are set for the championship already. We will continue fighting and we will prepare for the long term. Ivan Juric signed a contract for a year and a half and he is our manager for next season. So he's confirmed in that interview today that Ivan Juric will be the Southampton manager next season. Give me all your reaction to that one in the comments box below. I think Simon Jordan made a very good point after the interview. If he loses every game between now and the end of the season, would he really be the manager next season? I'm still not convinced by that. But he's backing him, Dragan Solak. He went on to talk about the rebuild. He said we need to rebuild our footballing department. That wasn't rebuilt after Jason Wilcox left. Well, it had to be, didn't it? Why wasn't it rebuilt? Why wasn't a replacement brought in for Jason Wilcox? Absolutely criminal that it wasn't. Biggest transfer window of the summer, biggest period of time for the football club getting back to the Premier League, and you haven't got anybody in place. But who was in charge of recruitment? Darren Mowbray was supposed to be one of those, apparently, alongside Russell Martin, who oversaw a lot of the recruitment. Dear me, and whoever else was involved in it needs firing because it was woefully short. He also went on to talk about the team. And he said, unfortunately, the team has been selected and set up for a different game plan than Ivan wants to play. He's a hard-working man, Ivan Juric, he said. Doesn't complain, and we will try to help him. So he's going to try and help him in the window if they can. I think it's going to be very, very, very difficult to bring anybody's in the door. And that kind of wrapped up everything key that he had to say, really. Makes a good point that he thought Russell was unlucky early on in the season with some of the results going against us. Thought we played well early parts of the season. But obviously, it hasn't been good enough. Recruitment wasn't good enough. They weren't prepared for the Premier League, in my opinion. We all know that. way short. Hopefully they can get their act together, this board, very, very quickly, and get ready for the Championship, and make sure they've got the relevant people in place, and make sure that they have proper recruitment as they go into the Championship season, and prepare properly with some leaders that can play in that division, not a bunch of kids, which really concerns me, is that they can end up going down that road, continually buying youth and young players like they're doing at this moment. Albert Grongbeck, we don't know loads about him yet, but seems a young lad. Looks like he's got a small frame. I've done a bit of research into him. He apparently gets beat off the ball a bit. We've bought the left back in Wellington. It looks like he's going to get his chance in the coming weeks as well. Where's the experience? And they're going to have to find experience going into next season. Otherwise, we will be in the Championship for a very, very long time if we're not careful. That's my thoughts on everything that Solak said, but he's chairman now, so he's going to oversee it. So look, he obviously knows what needs to be done. Hopefully he can get the right footballing people around him, which they need to do, because it's been absolutely embarrassing this season. They've embarrassed themselves, and the fan base has been absolutely humiliated in the process. Right, transfer news as we come to the back end of today's show. I will be doing some more content over the next couple of days. There'll be some more videos out to cover any transfer news that's going to happen. So stay tuned to the channel. Make sure you go give me a follow on TikTok as well, at @FootballMartin_ on TikTok, and also at @FootballMartin_extra on TikTok. There's a bit of extra content on there, some more fan cams, some more fan reaction as well. So stay tuned to both of those channels. I will cover anything that happens in the transfer window, and obviously across all my other social media platforms. Right, let's have a look at all the transfer news. Turkish side Besiktas. In transfer news, Turkish side Besiktas. Right. Transfer news. What's been happening? Well, there are rumours. There's several teams that are interested in Paul Onuachu, according to reports. Looks like they could potentially receive an offer for him in the coming days. There's numerous Turkish sides looking at Paul Onuachu. The big talking point over the last couple of days has been around Kyle Walker-Peters. A lot of talks that Galatasaray are very interested in the Southampton right back. I see it as a very, very odd move for him to go there. Apparently, according to reports today, Southampton have turned down an offer of €3 million for him, £2.5 million. Apparently, that has been rejected by the football club, and I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced to go to Turkey. That's my honest opinion. I'm not sure why you want to go there. I think tax reasons as a footballer, it's not bad. But if he really wants to get himself back in the England squad, I think he should be looking for a Premier League club. But they reckon there is. Fabrizio Romano tweeted early on the week, there are a bunch of Premier League clubs that are interested in him at the end of the season. He's a free agent. He'll be able to demand he'll get a bit more himself. As a free agent, you can negotiate your signing on fee, which is brilliant for him personally, because he'll earn a bit more money out of it. I think if he's too good really for me to be going overseas at this moment in time. If I was him, I'd stay in England. I think he needs to bulk up again. The one downside about Kyle Walker-Peters, I think he's lost a lot of strength in the last 2 years. He looks like his frame's he's really skinny, and he gets beaten off the ball a bit. I love him as a player, but I don't think he's at his I don't think he's as bulky as he was. Maybe I'm wrong in saying that. Get involved in the comments box below. Give me your thoughts on that one. Elsewhere, Southampton striker Don Ballard, he has agreed a loan move to Cambridge United today after spending the first half of this season on loan at Blackpool. That's gone through. He's going to spend the rest of the season at Cambridge. Good luck to Don Ballard. He's a great guy. And the final story, which will continue to do the rounds, is obvious who I'm going to speak about right now, Tyler Dibbling. It's rumoured today that Tottenham Hotspur Spurs, they are very interested in signing him in January. They would like to do it in January, but they do want him. They're very, very keen on him. This is from Matt Lawton at the Daily Telegraph. He's a very good journalist, quite well respected, I would say, as well. But if Tottenham can't get him in January, they do want to get an agreement in place to get him at the end of the season. I'm sure, no doubt, that is going to rumble on all week long, and I think we'll be bored about it at the end of this end of the window. Would I sell him now? Do you know what? I love him to stay. But if Southampton can recruit, get some money in now, I think they're going to start building for next season and start getting some money in the door. Maybe do it in the summer and sell him in the summer. He'd probably be worth more in the summer. I think Walker Peters, the only way they get a fee for him is now. Still think he'll still be here at the end of this window. A lot of people saying that the way he was at the end of the game at the weekend looked like he was saying goodbye. I didn't read it that way personally. Right, just to wrap up before we finish up today's show, make sure you do go give me a follow on all the major social media platforms. Instagram, Facebook, obviously spoke about TikTok, at @footballmartin_. You can also follow me on my TikTok extra account, at @footballmartin_extra. Like I said, there's loads of content being uploaded on a daily basis. And don't forget about my Patreon as well. You can support the channel with a monthly contribution, patreon.com/footballmartin. I'm going to be uploading some exclusive content there. Got 2 tiers with some perks, and some competitions, some exclusive episodes which are going to be going up this week as well, and opportunities to join this show as well. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and I'll see you again next time on The Final Word.